Hello guys, Belle here, going to give you some information on what you should have done before patch 7.2 comes out. Now, two things I want to make sure that you guys are aware of regarding patch 7.2. So the first thing is you don't need to worry about the next raid tier because Tomb of Sargeras will not be tied to the 7.2 patch. Blizzard's basically just making sure people can progress through Nighthold, and there is some prerequisite questing that you have to do in order to be able to enter the Tomb of Sargeras, so you don't have to worry about raiding just yet. And two is they have not announced the date for the patch, although I have predicted it's going to be the 28th just based off the PvP season ending and knowing that I'm pretty sure that the PvP Season 3 is tied to patch 7.2 because they're adding additional prestige levels and making some changes that do require some data changes, which usually means it is attached to a patch. So I kind of am feeling that it's going to be the 28th. So don't quote me on that, but that's kind of my feeling. But whether it is or it isn't, I think it's important for you guys to be ready and realistically ready. Like, there's a lot of sites and a lot of guides on what you need to do to prepare for. So basically, I just took and grabbed the ones that were the most important in a brief summary, just to make sure that you guys could be ready to go when the patch hits so that you can start doing all the content. Now, patch 7.2 brings a lot of things. We're going to be questing in Broken Shore and discovering that storyline there. We're going to be doing additional things for our class order halls, as well as getting our flying and doing our class order hall mount, or our class mounts. So there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be doing when the patch launches. So I want to make sure that prior to that, you guys have your foot in the door and are complete with a lot of things, especially for those newer players who might not have started when Legion started. So let's go over your to-do list before patch 7.2. The most important thing here is going to be to get your rep with all Legion factions exalted. Most people that have been playing since expansion launch have already done this because you do this naturally kind of in the world quests and stuff like that. It's really easy to get exalted. The only one that seems to be a little bit more difficult is the Nightfallen, for those of you who hate Suramar. Hashtag fan favorite, that's my favorite zone. And the Vault of the Wardens rep, which are the two kind of a little bit more complicated ones. Because a lot of people don't like doing the Suramar quest lines and going in that zone. And then the Vault of the Wardens, it's not really readily available. So usually, outside of doing the world quest and picking that as your cash, for your weekly when you get the world quest one. So what you want to make sure is you get that. The reason being is they're bringing Paragon Reps. So once you're exalted, you'll begin your Paragon Reps. Now the Paragon Rep, basically what this means is for an additional 20k rep each time, you'll get a small quest. That quest it's a repeatable quest. You turn it in and you do get a box from each of the factions. So it could be whichever faction you choose to start on, or you could start on doing them all at the same time with the world quests. Basically, you'll get all kinds of things from these boxes: gear, random stuff, and you also have a chance for it to drop the class or the rep mount for that specific faction. Each faction has its own mount, so you'll be able to get the opportunity to get one of those if you do this. So Paragon rep for each faction, an additional 20k rep each time, and it is repeatable an umpteenth amount of times. They haven't capped it as of this moment, so definitely want to take advantage of doing that. Now, if you have rep tokens now, don't save them because they won't be useful past 7.2. Once 7.2 hits anything, because it's only for exalted, so those rep tokens aren't going to do you any good. However, if you happen to have alts, send those rep tokens over to your alts so that your alts can get the fruits of the Nightfallen so that they can use their mask without having to do questing in Suramar, because the mask is a toy. Just send them to your alt so that you don't really need it, but it's nice if there's some faction-specific stuff that you want to do on your alts. So make sure, if there's one or two that you haven't really gotten exalted yet, just grind it out and get it done. Definitely worth it. You also want to make sure that you complete your class hall campaign. You want to be completely done with this because you have to have that as a prerequisite to be able to start the new order hall things for your order hall advancements. Remember, we are getting 2 more tiers. It currently goes up to tier 6. It's going to be going up 2 more tiers, which I talked about that in a previous video. So make sure you guys have checked that out, which is the artifact trait changes that are happening in 7.2. Now, you're going to need to have this done in order to be able to progress in 7.2 as far as your order hall goes. So it's a good idea to just get it out of the way. If you've been putting it off, or if you maybe got stuck on a quest, now's a good time to just work it out and get it done. You also want to make sure that you have Legion Pathfinder Part 1 finished. It's relatively easy. Most of you probably already have it done, but it's a good idea if you don't to get it done. So that way you can start right away with Pathfinder Part 2. Now, Pathfinder Part 2 in 7.2 patch is actually pretty easy. Obviously, you have to get, they took one of the requirements out, which is breaching the tomb, which was an extremely large amount of quests that you had to do in Broken Shore, but you don't have to do that anymore. So here's what you're going to need for your Pathfinder Part 2. Defender of the Broken Isles basically means you have to complete a Legion Assault in each of the zones except for Suramar. So you have to do complete the Legion Assault, which it's pretty cool the way that they've done these assaults. I actually wanted to do a video on it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to have time before the patch drops to do that. But the Legion Assaults, there's actually questing that you do for these assaults versus when we had the one for for Legion launch. It was just kind of using it to farm XP for your alts to level them quickly. This you actually have to progress. You have to pick up the quest when you get in that zone. When it's under attack, you have to complete it, and it ends with a 3-man scenario, which is my favorite. I love that they brought that back. So you want to make sure that you do all those assaults in each zone. The Explore Broken Shore, basically you just make sure all the shaded parts on the map are uncovered and you're done. Super easy, especially since the world quests are open the second you hit Deliverance Point in Broken Shore after you do the initial quest line. So makes it really easy. Then the last part here for Legion Flying Part 2 is going to be the Legion Fall Commander, and that just requires you to be revered with Legion Fall, which is going to be the new faction in 7.2. Now, although I've progressed pretty well in PTR, that's going to be kind of your gate point there, where it's going to kind of be a stopper for you because you're at the mercy of as fast as you can gather the rep. Hopefully, you do all the world quests. Those world quests are open the second you hit Broken Shore after you do the intro stuff. So just going to have to grind that stuff out and really just make it happen. But the Pathfinder Part 2 is not that difficult to get. So you want to make sure that you have Part 1 completely finished so you don't have to worry about that with the start of the patch. The reason flying is important, if you're one of those people that's like, I don't really need to fly, I'm not really that concerned. Problem with that is you have to have flying in order to proc your quests for your class mount. So you have to do it if you want your class mount. If you're not that interested in your class mount because you don't particularly fancy it, then don't even bother and you're totally fine. But you definitely want to make sure that you have that. If nothing else, you want to be able to fly in Suramar because it's so pretty. Now comes to a point where I'm actually going to be doing a video here after this one that's going to be regarding the weapon. Now, I did a video regarding the artifact weapon changes and what's happening, but with this, you're going to want to make sure that you have completely max level for your knowledge. So you're going to want to make sure your artifact knowledge is level 25, because in 7.2 you'll be able to do a small quest and complete, begin doing your research to advance it up to artifact level 40. So make sure that it's already done and maxed out. If this is really kind of important, if you changed an alt into your main, you want to make sure that you do that. So definitely get as far as possible, because what happens, once you do that, this will allow you to be able to catch up the compendiums to you so that you can start, because you have to max out to 40 to be able to get the level 35 for the volume compendiums. Now, you also want to make sure that you are progressed as far as you could possibly get into your weapon, and make sure you're constantly dumping your AP tokens into that Paragon trait on your weapon. So what's going to happen beyond rank 34 is everything that you've put into that final trait as of now is going to be refunded back to you, so that you'll open up 4 new sets of traits, which you can see that in the trait video, and then you'll start dumping that into continuing your power. If you have AP tokens, I wouldn't save them if you're trying to bank them for the new traits. I would just put them in there into that last trait, because it's going to get refunded to you, and those tokens are going to be useless after 7.2, anything you acquired before then. So definitely make sure that you take advantage of that so that you don't have to worry about it. So just make sure you're completed. You won't be able to unlock the new traits unless your weapon is maxed at the 30, I think it's 34, 35. You want to make sure that that's done so that you'll get a quest and it's a pretty cool quest actually, and then you can unlock those. So you want to make sure that that's done. That way there's no issues. And finally, the most important thing for those of you that pet battle, if you're new to pet battles, or if there's pets in your collection that you've always wanted, with the pet battle dungeon coming, which is going to allow for various difficulties depending on your skill set, you want to make sure that you have as many max level pets as possible so that you have kind of a plethora to be able to enter these dungeons and really, really make it happen. So my advice to the pet battlers would be, if you're new to pet battling, go and grab yourself some pets and get those guys leveled while you have some downtime so you can start doing these pet battle dungeons right away. Those of you that are my pet battle experts, I don't really have to tell you much because you probably already have every single pet and it's probably already completely maxed and ready for battle. But with the pet battle dungeons coming, those of you that do pet battle, you'll want to take advantage. Now, if you're brand new to pet battling and you're unsure how to get started, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel Warcraft Pet Battles. That's actually Jimma Banks, who is on our show. He takes care of that channel and he brings you lots of guides on quick leveling, really good strategies for making it happen. So I definitely recommend you head on over there and watch videos if you're new to pet battling. That's basically the important things that you need to do. The rest of the stuff, in my opinion, is not really that important. Transmog farming, perhaps. I wouldn't worry too much about gearing. They're increasing, the item level of the gear from your world quest. I think it's like 860. They're making it easier for a lot of things for gear for alt. So definitely take advantage of that. And just do my to-do list to make sure that you're ready to go. And if you're ready to go, then you're going to be super successful. And hopefully you'll be able to hit it hard come 7.2, which is hopefully March 28th. I keep saying that, and I'm going to be really disappointed if it isn't, because I'm pretty sure, like in my mind, that I'm psychic. If you have any questions, make sure you guys comment on the video. If you like the video, make sure you give me a nice little thumb up or hit the like button. If you don't like it, feel free to dislike the video. It doesn't bother me one little bit. If you guys have any questions, like I said, make sure that you guys comment on the video. Get your to-do list done, guys. Be ready. Hopefully patch 7.2 is coming out in the next week or so. Maybe 2 weeks, not 100% sure, but my money's on March 28th. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.